The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Ooh, she was fast that time. Hello, everybody. Hello, Andy.
Hey, Steve. How's it going, buddy?
Good. So this is test drive week. This is the second day of our test drive afternoon tech support webinars to try and help people doing the 1 week trial to get a bit of a more running head start and get some questions answered quickly. I see a couple questions coming in, and Andy's going to do his best to type some of the answers to the questions that we can. Yesterday we had a great turnout, and it was a bit of a manic hour, but we may have a little bit of a less turnout today, so maybe we don't have to go so fast. But if somebody could maybe type into the questions box there that you do see and hear my screen. Let me show my screen before we do that. Okay. Who are we showing here? Do you see my screen?
I got yours. I do.
Okay, good. And thank you, Keith. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Angie. All right. Welcome, everybody. Some of you may have been here yesterday. Some of you may be new today. Typically, what we do on our weekly webinars is go through some content and talk about the day's events and trading. But what we're doing now is we're focusing all of the time that we can on our resources to make ourselves available to you guys that are on the test drive that still have some questions and still want to try and work through a few things and help your learning curve. So I don't know if many of you have been to our Friday support sessions, which, by the way, we will again have this Friday. It's going to be a 3-hour session because we have a lot less responsibility on Friday. We can devote up to 3 hours. So this will be the second technical support webinar of the week. Before I say any more, it's just worth me reminding everybody, make the lawyers happy. This is a technical support forum. Anything you see in here should not be considered as investment advice. If you need investment advice, a registered investment advisor or a broker with a license is where you need to go with that. So that being the format, we basically don't have an agenda. The agenda is really up to you guys. So if you've got the question box open, we'll go ahead and get started. While you're typing a couple questions, I think it might be wise for me to start off showing everybody something new that we have today. In the go-to webinar toolbar, where the questions box and the chat window is, we've got one called handouts. And on that handouts panel, there's one that says cloud links, and it's a cloud link PDF. And if you click on that cloud link PDF, this is what's going to be opening up. And by the way, this webinar is being recorded, so if you miss anything, you can go back to our YouTube channel, which I've also dropped into the chat window below the handouts channel. But I wanted to start today's session with talking about cloud links and how they can be shared. We're getting a lot of emails, a lot of questions. Hey, how can I find a good swing trading scan? How can I find a good momentum scan? Well, what we've done a couple months ago for our Friday sessions is kind of broken down a few strategies based on, the educator, myself, Andy, or Jamie, or Sean. And this needs to be updated. That's an old date. I did update a few of these, but here's basically quickly what happens. For anybody who wants to maybe go shopping and peruse around for some pre-configured strategies that you're not maybe going to find on the channel bar over here, we have this PDF designed for some of the trades. For instance, I recently just added the 3-day bounce. This is a swing trading alert that I really like. So I want to take a moment to use this one as an example for you guys on your end to say, hey, how can I receive this 3-day bounce swing trade alert that Steve talked about and likes? Well, here's step 1, bring up the PDF, of course. Step 2 is to just click on that link, and it's going to take you to our Trade Ideas Cloud Link landing page. And here's the title, the name of the scan, 3-day bounce with the tail optimized. The second step, once you're on this landing page, guys, is simply grab the URL up top, the entire code, the entire URL address, and click copy. And then watch how easy this is. We just go to our Trade Ideas toolbar, file load from cloud, and here it is right. It's already pasted in that window. So all that's left for me to do as the user is click load, and there is a duplicate copy of my 3-day bounce. Which, by the way, just in case, let's go grab a history real quick so you can kind of see what trades this is looking for. My daily chart I'm going to pull up. We had a few today, FNV, and this is kind of the stuff I'm looking for. I'm looking for 3 consecutive day candles and then a nice bottoming hammer candle tail at the bottom with a reversal. So there could possibly be 3 days going forward from today, a nice calm upward moving swing trade. That was one of them that came through today. QSR was another one, and you can kind of see the same thing there, a couple of down days, but a really nice piercing candle down through support and right back up closing on highs. AEM was another one that came through. This is probably the prettiest of the bunch because it pulled back 4 days and bounced right at a level I had already been watching, put in a nice green candle, and that's when I noticed actually today that the GDX, the gold miners, are starting to do some interesting things. There was one more on here, BAM, and there again, BAM. There's our 3 days of down and a nice little piercing wick and a bounce. So that's what really the 3-day bounce is that I just highlighted to you guys. But again, it's in the handouts panel, cloud links. Very easy to just click on the cloud link, highlight the URL code in that page, and then file load from cloud, and you got that cloud link all to yourself. All right, so with that said, a little bit of housekeeping out of the way, and again, in the chat window, we have a link to our YouTube channel where we will update and upload the recorded sessions that we're doing all week. So I hear Andy typing some questions over there. Where should we start, Mr. Andy?
Well, let's see. A pretty good one to start would be Robert. I answered him, but it's probably good to show a visual. He's wanting to know if I want to customize the layout on each channel and want to switch between channels each time I switch. He's asking a question here. I need to load my own layout to get it customized. Kind of explain that the channels are not configurable.
Yeah.
I mean, you cannot alter them, right?
So guys, this is my default layout, and the reason I use the default layout, and the way to know if you're using it, is file save layout, and it should just want to overwrite my default layout, and I can just say yes, no problem, overwrite. The reason I use that is because when you open Trade Ideas from scratch, it looks to open up to the default layout. That's what it's looking for. So it's one less step to just have it all named correctly. Now, notice what happens if we go here to, say, the social media channel. We've left my layout entirely, and now we're on a theme-based channel, which I think I understand the question, and I want to open your eyes. Maybe it's not so much that you need to sit on these channels and go back and forth. For instance, maybe on the social media channel, you really like unusual social activity. So what I'm going to show you is a way to just use these as a shopping mall rather than having to click back and forth through them. Grab the scan that you like. So I right-clicked, save to cloud, save to my cloud, and while I'm at it, maybe I'll go over here to the Alpha Chain, Alpha Predator, and I like this Alpha Predator scan too that I've been watching. I'll save that one to my cloud. So now the big leap is getting back to a workable layout, and so I'm going to file load my default layout, which is right here, double-clicking, and we're right back to where we started the session. But now the good news is I can add to this existing layout with more scans that I basically took from the channel bar by simply file load from cloud. I'll just do the first one. There's that Alpha Predator scan from the Alpha Predator stream. Now, one of the reasons it's important to consider doing it this way is when you are on that channel, like Andy mentioned, it's a public static channel. I can't go in and make configurations and make changes when I'm on a channel bar. They're not going to stick. They're not going to save. But if you save it directly from the channel bar individually to your cloud and then bring it down from your cloud and receive it into your working desktop, now it's yours to do whatever you want with. You can change colors, configurations. It's now yours. So hopefully that makes sense. That's really the best way to use it. Going back from channel to monitor things is not really advisable. I think it's advisable to build your own default layout and add things that you're getting either from the PDF cloud links that we gave you or the channel bars or something you saw in a webinar. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. All right.
Yeah. I mean, it is doable, Robert. You just will not be able to save it as a channel. If you want to go in there and get a channel and configure it the way you want to, you just have to remember you have to go to the file save layout on your server, and then you can name it whatever you want. If you wanted to do that, you could have, I'm like Steve. I don't recommend it, but you could have 15 layouts in there, all blockchain, Alpha Predator of your own, but you can't change it by going to the channel.
So Andy, can you see my GoToMeeting thing? I'm trying to show it. Is it not visible as usual?
No, I don't see it.
Okay, so I see a lot of questions saying, hey, can you back up and tell me about that PDF? How do I get that again? Well, everybody should have a GoToMeeting, kind of a floating, remote bar. That's where the questions panel is, and that's where the chat panel. If you'll notice, there's little triangles next to, say, polls, next to handout, next to chat. If you click that little triangle, it expands the window. The first one, if you expand, is the chat window. And again, I've dropped the YouTube channel in there. The second expandable window is what's called handouts. So I'm really hoping you guys see that and you're able to retrieve that directly from this GoToWebinar floating toolbar. But fear not, if you can't find it, don't worry. We did the same thing yesterday. You guys can just email info@trade-ideas.com requesting the Cloud Links PDF, and we'll be happy to attach that to you. But ideally, it should be just explore the GoToWebinar and click those little triangle buttons to open up the windows, and it's called the handout window. And hopefully, you guys have it. All right, next question. I'm going to go to Jeremy. Common question. When I open Trade Ideas, each screen is separate windows. That is correct. That's by design. Is there a way to have it in one platform where I can maximize the whole system at once? Well, yes and no. The good news is, no, we don't have a container window, but the function I believe that you're looking for, Jeremy, is as such. So watch. We don't want to minimize individual windows. We want to start and stop everything from our Trade Ideas toolbar. So if I want to minimize everything, watch this. Down we go. And if I want to bring it back up, I go to my Trade Ideas toolbar. I do not open the windows individually. That's the big misconception. We would never ask you guys to do that. Go back to the first or the top icon, which is the Trade Ideas Custom Pro. That's our toolbar. If I restore the toolbar, it drags everything back up with it. So hopefully that answers your question. They are individual windows. They've always been that way, but use the toolbar to minimize and restore that same toolbar to make it get going. Okay, for whatever reason, guys, if you're not seeing triangles on the GoToWebinar toolbar, that's unfortunate. But like I said, we'll do the same thing we did yesterday. If you want to jot this email down, info@trade-ideas.com. For those of you that couldn't find that PDF, email that. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I was just going to say, can somebody tell us if they do see that?
Yeah.
It's going to be. Does anybody see the handouts in there?
Okay. So Omar sees it. And
a lot of them are seeing it.
So for those of you, for whatever reason, are not seeing it, and thank you all for that reply. It helps. We'll get a copy to you. So info@trade-ideas.com if you're not able to load that cloud link, and we're happy to share that. All right.
Just ask for the cloud links, and we'll know what you're talking about. The PDF,
all right. So Jeremy, we got that one. Kevin, goal is to streamline, automate finding intraday setups. I'd like to scale my day trading and need an application that will locate intraday opportunities. Well, Kevin, if you're not in the live trading room with Barry, they're demonstrating live day trading opportunities all day long, and it's a free room. So it's the Trade Ideas live trading room, and there's a lot of good stuff going on in there. Now, I could call your attention to maybe go visit the Alpha Predator channel. That's got a lot of stuff that's moving very quickly. A lot of day traders like the low float stuff in there, maybe smaller under $10 stocks that are really moving. So there's a million different ways to answer your question, but right off the bat, I would take a look at Alpha Predator perhaps, and try and visit the live trading room with Barry. There's a lot of good ideas being discussed all day long during market hours in there. If you need help with that, you can always, again, come to our live chat on the website during market hours or info@trade-ideas. That was for Kevin. Okay. The PDF, hopefully, Adon, you found it. PDF, Stefania, hopefully you found it. Is there a way to set notifications in the web version in order to participate in this week's contest? Okay, let's talk about that. Is there a way to set notifications in the web version? So two things are going on there, and I did plan on talking about that, RDS. The price alert is a email that you may have seen that has kind of a contest going on this week, and I'll go ahead and demonstrate that in a second. The bad news is, for those that are on the web version is still catching up to our downloadable application. So the price alerts feature is not yet available in the web alerts, and so I apologize. Hopefully by the next test drive we maybe have something like that. But for everybody else wondering what are they talking about, or what is that email that I got that has to do with some sort of a contest, let me go ahead and show you. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set an alert. Okay, I'm just going to use the trade of the week here, which was Dick's Sporting Goods, and I'm going to want to know here these two highs from today. I'm going to want to know as an alert if we can make new highs, and so this can be a way to set alerts of stocks that you're not yet participating in, but maybe the breakout point occurs or the pullback point occurs. So what I'm going to do is right click right there, create price alert. I'm going to give myself the note DKS new highs, and I'm going to set it and forget it. Now what that means is that blue line is now an active working line. So let's go down to my price alerts. Price alerts is the window that you can launch from the new menu, or it should be actually activated once you create a price alert. And it looks a little something like this window. And what a perfect example I have to show you. These trades have already triggered. But for the contest, well, for the alert that I just set, you'll see it right here on the bottom, the timestamp, the symbol, the notes, the reason, and working. Working means it's an open working alert. It has not triggered yet. But for the contest, for those that are interested in submitting and following the instructions on Scott's email for the contest, what you're going to do is tomorrow, it has to be tomorrow after Wednesday's close, because we're going to judge the price action on Thursday and declare a winner after the close on Friday. So essentially, you're going to be sending in working price alerts that hopefully will trigger Thursday or Friday. If they trigger Wednesday or yesterday or Monday this week, it's a disqualification. So here's the bottom line. Once you have set the 5 price alerts that you want to enter for our contest, you'll see I've got actually 5 working alerts here. So all you really need to do is highlight those, right click, and you'll notice share 5 selected price alerts. Now what did that just do? It gave me a cloud code. So what you're going to do to enter the contest is once you've got that cloud code from your 5 working alerts, and remember, do not submit them until after the close tomorrow on Wednesday. Copy that to my clipboard, and then you're going to paste into the email, which is the trade contest application form. There's a window in which you can paste the code. So once again, find the 5 working alerts that you want to send in that have not been triggered. Right-click, save those 5 selected alerts, copy them, and paste them into the entry form, so to speak. All right, I wanted to show that as well. All right, where are we on questions?
Harley,
pre-market.
he said, yeah, and I just looked, and CNET was in mine, so maybe just go to the pre-market channel and show him that CNET was in there.
For which one, the gappers?
Gappers. Right there in the up gappers, right second from the top.
Look at that. There it is right there. So this is an unusual top list, guys. Pre-market, before 9:30 East Coast, before the bell rings, this top list is going to be active as stocks are trading in pre-market and jockeying for position as to where they're going to actually open for the regular session. Once the 9:30 bell rings, everything in this window freezes. So RGSE gapped up 38%. CNET gapped up 33%. Let's take a look. And it did. It gapped up 33%. And so on and so forth. So hopefully I answered the question. Harlan, can we review pre-market? I looked at the channel, but certain movers like CNET was not in there. Well, yeah, so I'm not understanding your question. It was there and was probably sitting there for most of the day. It may have been active pre-market and jumping around pre-market, but it looks as though it did show up on that particular pre-market scan. Okay, where are we?
Oh, and real quick, Steve, before you go out of that, show him if he wants to go back and look how he could go back in a time. Go back and
time frame. Use historical data. Now these top lists, remember everybody, these are updated every 30 seconds. So as far as grabbing a history, we don't want just a 30-second history. The way the history is formatted here is these are 5-minute increments. So I could go to 6:30 a.m., which is my opening time in California, click OK, and everything just adjusted a little bit, but CNET is still right there. And that's going to be the same with any particular T window top list. If you think something should have showed up an hour ago and it's not there, well, if you're wanting to go in and investigate, use historical data, use your local time, and you'll get a 5-minute snapshot of what was happening during that 5-minute time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm not seeing handouts panel. Okay, so it says Stephania. If you still don't see it, email info@trade-ideas.com. How to remove indicators from chart. Okay, let's go back to my load layout. Okay, there's a couple different things going on here. There are, horizontal lines, like I'll just draw right there real quickly. There's trend lines, and there's other things. These aren't necessarily the indicators, but these are chart markups. But all you have to do is basically see how my cursor changes right there. I'll highlight that, and I'll hit the delete key, and that line just went away. So using that cursor to find markings, whether it's text, trend lines, or horizontal lines, you get that little cursor to line up like that, and then you hit the delete key. Oops, hang on. Get it to line up like that, click on it, then hit the delete key. Now, for indicators, we do have some new indicators. My version's a couple of versions older. There may be some new indicators, but if I've got SMAs, which I do, so this one, indicators, is how to add a new indicator. So what I would say to your question is, how do you remove indicators? You're going to want to go to Modify Indicators. Now, I've got a screen that shows me all of my active indicators. And so essentially, if I wanted to remove the average volume indicator, I would just click Remove that average, which is this line going through there. Or I could remove my 50 SMA, or I could remove that. And so that is how you remove the indicators. I'm just going to click on Cancel. All right. Limited time. We're going to try and move as fast as we can.
Risk on and risk off.
Okay. Well, this is a tough one today, guys, because there's actually a bug that occurred. Yesterday was a beautiful day in the AI. We had nice risk on and risk off parameters. I'm not going to dance around it. We had a bug that showed up this morning. Basically, 5 trades came in late. We had slow charts, and we had some other things. The RBI, GBIs weren't working. Those were all part and parcel of the same server issue that we upgraded this weekend, and it has been fixed. So I can still answer your question, but what's happening is behind the scenes, these values are slowly being manually readjusted. Obviously, risk on, all these zeros at the end of the day, is not correct. So I think we finished the day up a couple bucks. The AI did anyway, but neither here nor there. The risk on simply means what is the value of the trade, win or loss, that Holly took. So risk off, excuse me, let me start over. Risk off means that you're looking at the value of the profit or loss in terms of when the AI exited. Now, how can the AI exit? It can exit from a time stop. It can exit from a stop that is hit. It can exit from a target that was hit. And we also have one here called reduced risk, which is basically a way of saying, we're going to cut this trade and try and flat it and not ride it out because it's not working. The AI determines it's not working. Lastly, profit save. Profit save is basically a trailing stop. Profit save is just another term that we use that a lot of people use the word trailing stop. So when the AI gets into a good trade and moves upward, a big pullback is going to trigger a possible trailing stop, and we're going to try and lock in profits. That's risk on. Risk off, excuse me, that was risk off. We're taking risk off the table for these particular exit reasons. Risk on is simply nothing more than what happens if we take that trade idea all the way into the bell. And a lot of times when the market's rising and we're not having a choppy, noisy market and it's a broad-based rally, when the bug that we had show up is not here today, we can see risk on doing better or is risk off doing better. So tomorrow, pay attention to which one is doing better. If risk on is severely outperforming risk off, what that means is no matter what trades you're in, even your own trades that you found outside of Holly, the AI is basically saying, hey, it seems to be the better probable scenario to hold on to trades a little longer than normal today. So real quickly, risk off, exiting with the AI, risk on, what would happen if we took the trade all the way into the close.
Mm-hmm.
All right, where are we, Andy?
We are at Kevin Wang, and basically he says he has a problem with the channel bar occasionally not showing anything. So maybe the thing to do there is launch a new one. So,
yeah, so there's two things to do. Believe it or not, guys, this is just a big browser. And so if you're not seeing data in there, it's like an empty browser. There's two things you can do. You can expand it and right-click into the white space and do refresh, and that may help. Or the easiest way of all might just be to close the dead browser that's not working and then relaunch a new one, new channel bar, like so. And that will pop back in, and you can expand that and adjust it accordingly. Hopefully that helps, because that's the only two answers I know regarding that particular one. Okay, now where everybody's seeing the handouts, thank you.
Yep.
Just getting my bearings here. Okay, Chris. Configured my own scanner, however, only one stock has been showing on it. Why is that? Also, how do you make the EMA lines show up on the chart? Well, Chris, the best thing to probably do is send in, and watch me closely. This is what you want to do. Here's your scanner. Right-click, save and share to cloud, save and share, and now we have the ability to copy your cloud link, or you're going to copy your cloud link, and then you're going to paste that into an email, info@trade-ideas.com. We can take a look at it and let you know. Probably there's some filters that have to do with volume or some other ideas that we can try and show you to untie and allow more data to come in. And you had a second part of that question too, didn't you?
About the EMAs.
The EMAs, yes. So if you want to use an EMA, I'm using SMAs on my daily chart only. I'm only interested in these beautiful fanned out 10 period, 20 period, and 50 period. And they're SMAs. And if I wanted to add an EMA, well, we would simply go down to indicators and start at the EMA block. And there you go. You would be able to modify the color, change, let's see, that's volume, excuse me. Let me go back. EMA, indicators, EMA. There it is right here, EMA. So I can modify the colors. I can change the period to 10 or 9. Some people like 9 EMA, what have you. Change the colors to whatever you want, and then you're off and running, setting that color as your EMA. So right-click inside the chart, and you'll have a choice in indicators, either SMA or EMA. Okay.
All right.
Carmelo, I don't understand your question.
I think that was back when you were showing how to remove indicators from the chart, but I don't know. She may have gotten that,
okay,
or he may have gotten that since then. I don't know.
Okay, just looking for the next question. Okay, some people are saying for those that can't find the PDF, if they're on an iPad or something else, hit the document icon. Maybe that's something that's a little bit different. I appreciate that, Keon. Okay, I had to watch the recording yesterday, and you were talking about a gem pack. Can you put that in the handouts again, please? I'm not sure what a gem pack is. Do you know what that means?
No.
I'm sorry, Helmut. I'm not ringing a bell on what the GEM pack is. That may have been the PDF that we were talking about ad nauseum yesterday. Well, the PDF that we talked about a lot yesterday, the pack of cloud links, is actually in the handouts panel today. But if I'm misreading it, go ahead and retype, and I'll hit you on the back end. All right, Kevin, is there any capability to link symbols from the screen to an execution broker order window to quickly execute? Well, for now, we have a great relationship with interactive brokers, which would allow you to right-click and trade fossil. Well, I'm not connected to interactive brokers. I don't have an account with them, and I don't use that feature. But you could see that's kind of how it would go. I mean, you could,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and this is really advanced stuff, guys. I don't want to get too much into it. But for Brokerage Plus questions, if you have an IB account and you want to learn how to do auto trading and stuff, that's the only brokerage platform that's really going to allow you to auto trade or right click in one trade. Beyond that, we have what's called symbol linking. And symbol linking is in the tool menu under external linking, excuse me, not symbol, but external linking. And this allows you to start adding a link, and this wizard will pop up, and you just follow the instructions. You know, if you're using eTrade or eSignal or Ameritrade or something, you would basically follow these instructions. You would put your arrow over the symbol order entry window or a chart window on your broker's platform and hit the shift key, and ideally Trade Ideas will recognize that. And once you have that external link set, every time you click on a link, not only are the Trade Ideas charts going to change, but your broker's charts and your broker order entry window will also change as well. All right. If you want more information on the Brokerage Plus, again, that's super, super advanced. info@trade-ideas.com. Okay. Where are we?
Does Trade Ideas have heat map functionality? And
well, yes and
do.
no.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm kind of hesitant to show this one because a lot of people want it, but here's my sector heat map. Okay. This is showing me using ETFs. All I'm doing, guys, is I'm using a top list, a T window, and in the configuration of that T window, I have 0 filters. I'm not filtering for anything. But I do have columns that I want to see, and these are the relative columns that I want to see. And the real kicker is the symbol list tab. I'm not scanning the market for that scan. I am pointing it towards my ETF list. So only the following list, check mark ETF. And what's inside my ETF list? Well, when you go to Tools, Symbol List, you can create lists. And I've created a list called ETF. And inside of there is every ETF that you basically see on that scan. But what I can do is turn it into a heat map. All right, who's the strongest today? Who's the strongest over the last 5 days? Who's the strongest over the last 20 days? And so I'm sorting dynamically by double-clicking each one of these columns. But I typically leave it just parked on the change of the close today, which shows me that natural gas and gold miners were having a really nice day, which, by the way, I tweeted midday, gold miners were looking good. And that was before that big move. So, yes, the answer is the top list. The top list is your friend when it comes to trying to create heat map functionality, Edward. And there's many more examples that we can use for volumes or for position and range or position relative to their moving averages. And it's a good question.
By the way, that window cloud link is on the PDF page, so it's at the bottom, and we also included the symbols on there as well. So
here it is.
Steve will show it to you and how to look for.
Where is my sector?
It's going to be
at the very bottom. Okay, it's going to be at the very bottom. Here it is. So the very bottom, sector analysis. This is the code to create the cloud link of the container window, the top list. And then when you go and you build your own symbol list, these are the symbols that I use. And again, your step is going to be Tools, Symbol List, create a new list, call it ETF, and then just drop in those symbols that I have on the bottom of that cloud link. All right, where are we going next?
Let's see. No, you should be able to load from cloud, Chris.
Chris, your cloud link should be able to load from cloud. I'll do it. I'll demonstrate one more time because I'm sure there's others that have come a little late. I'm going to click on my PDF link again here. And here's the operative deal. The easiest way to do it, guys, is to just click the actual link and let it go to a landing page. Highlight the entire address up there in the address bar and copy it. Once you've copied it, you're more than halfway home. It's simple: File, Load from Cloud, and just click the load button because, as you can see, it's already pasted that code in here. So we're just going to load that. And once again, I loaded a duplicate copy of one of the items on the PDF. So if you're having additional problems with that, please let us know at info@trade-ideas.com, and we'll try and work on that for you. Cryptocurrency, Chris,
Yes.
Luis, can I use it for crypto? It's a great question, and we are ahead of the curve. The servers that we use now actually have a respite. There's an open and a close and an overnight period. So, as you know, cryptocurrencies are 24/7. We are now in the process of scaffolding and blueprinting the architecture for how we are going to add a new server bank to accommodate not only the futures market, because they're 24/7 typically, and the cryptocurrency market. So I don't have anything to show you today. We may have a prototype of something in 3 or 5 months, but hopefully 2018 will be the year that Trade Ideas is able to apply all of these filters and scans and technology to not only the U.S. equities market, but the crypto market as well. Hi, can you add VWAP? Yes and no, Haran. VWAP may be an indicator coming in the next build, the next version, but for right now, if you're looking for an indicator, VWAP is not an indicator. However, what I can show you is that VWAP is a wonderful filter. So if I go to just my configuration window here, the search tab is always your friend. This is where you ask Trade Ideas, do you have my favorite indicator? Well, let's type in VWAP. We have a filter called distance from VWAP. So essentially what you could do is design a strategy, whether you want to buy as it pulls back and hits the VWAP, or you want to sell if it trades through the VWAP, or you want to sell if it hits the VWAP. You know, we can back into that strategy, let me just say, using the VWAP as filter. But as far as an indicator graphically on the chart, it's not here yet, but this is a great filter, distance from VWAP. It's going to nail it every time. So if you have a strategy you're thinking about that involves VWAP, you're welcome to email us, info@trade-ideas.com, with a few ideas you're looking for, and maybe we can construct something and send it back to you via the cloud and give you kind of a working head start. All right.
A great thing to add to your columns as well. So if you are using alert, a new high alert, and you can look over there and see where it is in relationship to its VWAP. So it can be a very powerful column.
All right. I was just going to say thank you, Stefania, for giving me the update that you found the chat and the other stuff. All good now. Thank you.
Okay, good.
What were you going to say,
great.
Andy?
I was going to say, Edward had a question about volatility. Is there a way to determine the volatility of a particular stock, the usual range it travels in a day?
Well, let's do the same thing we just said. Okay. Yep. Let's go to either alert or top list window. I'll do alert because alert might give us more options, not just filters, but maybe events. And here we go, the handy dandy exercise. What does Trade Ideas offer me in terms of the keyword volatility? Well, interestingly enough, we have a bullish strategy, which is an algorithm, which basically says trailing stop volatility up. I have no idea what that means, but guess what, everybody? We can highlight that and click help. And when you do that, it takes you right to the actual documentation of what that is. I'm just going to close that, but that's the idea. You can grab the idea and then click the help button. So volatility, we actually do have it. We have it expressed in dollars and we have it expressed in percent. So Trade Ideas, knows what XYZ or any other stock symbol for that matter, what its normal average volatility is going to be. But using this filter and the percentage, I would recommend, going to the help and reading the documentation and seeing how volatility filter is calculated. So maybe we can weed out the stocks that are not very volatile today and only focus on the stocks that are showing great volatility. All right, Cade left. I think we're on Harley again. Do you have any system alert mechanism to alert users when the system issues are occurring? I think I'm assuming that like today when we had chart issues, we don't have any major alert system that goes out like everybody in Hawaii got 2 weeks ago, but that's, that might be a great feature request because I think you're the second person today that has asked me that rather than having to come in and ask questions. If you want to do me a favor, Stefania, is you can write as a feature request to trade-ideas.com and say, obviously there were some technical glitches today. I'd like to request a feature of maybe a universal window pop-up to let all the users know that there may be issues. That might be a great idea. And If we get a few of those, that gets moved up in the priorities of our developers meetings. But for today, it was basically, people coming in to support Barry's room, email, and that's a good comment. I appreciate that, but it's going to do a lot more if you email it yourself. Then I can forward it to the developers, and they can prioritize that for a possible solution. As we get bigger, that's a very important point. Thank you.
And I will add, I want to say something, because Steve and I are the very first users of Trade Ideas, been since inception, 14 years. It's only been a handful of times when the system has gone down, and I seriously mean a handful. And we are just adding so many new features right now. We have so many irons in the fire, and what we're doing for this test drive, we had to add more capacity on our servers. And so when we did that, even though we did it over the weekend, it threw a bug into one of them. So it's because we're growing so fast, we're piling on more servers. But boy, I'm so proud of Trade Ideas as far as its stability. Over the last 14 years, it's amazing. But that's a very good feature request.
Okay. Do you have a system alert mechanism to alert users when? Oh, we just read that one. Thank you.
Yep.
I open a new chart window now, and I want to add entry, stop, loss, and profit take indicator. How do I do that? Okay, Carmel, it's a good question, and there's two ways I want to go with this. First one is just look at my screen. You see that giant blue gradient to orange? I just typed in GDXJ 10 minutes ago and talking about it. So the first thing I want to highlight is for newer users, this is a very unique chart feature that nobody else that I know of has, and it's using our Trade Ideas and AI logic to look back in data in the history to find pivot levels, support levels, resistance levels. So if we just type in a single stock like GDXJ here, the junior gold miners, it's saying, okay, at this moment in time, if you were to buy at 3504, we recommend, based on our logic, that 3461 be your downside. And if we go here to the daily chart, we can see up to the top, all the way up at 3598, almost 36 would be your upside. So here's a guide to kind of show you visually, especially new traders who are trying to find their way around a chart with their eyeballs. This is a great recommendation. Now, your question is, I understand, how can I be alerted to it? Well, what I would do is I would just create a price alert. Create a price alert right there, call that one stop, and create a price alert up here at the top on the daily chart and call that one target. And so that's a way in which we can use the price alerts to our advantage to make sure that, one, we don't miss an entry or a trade idea, or two, we don't miss a stop if something is negatively happening to our stock. And for those of you that don't have the price alert feature going forward on the standard version, your broker is going to have the same price alerts. You just got to find out how to use it with your broker. Type in the symbol of the price and the action. Okay.
John may be using an older version. If you're not seeing the indicators when you right click on a chart, you might be on a
check your version. Yeah, check your version. I mean, help about is going to give you the version. You really need to be on 4.2.14 or higher, and that's going to give you these chart gradients that show up. So if that's not the case, then give us an email drop at info@trade-ideas.com. Real quickly, I'm going to skip ahead because I just saw this come in and we're on the topic. Lance, how do I get that shaded area on my chart? Just type it. I'm going to select my window and I'm going to type in Tesla. And what do you know? There's Tesla's risk-reward parameters. What does Microsoft look like today? There's Microsoft's risk parameters. So ideally, it's just highlight the chart and start typing, and you will get a new chart, and the calculation will come in shortly thereafter. If you're on 4.2.5, there really is a newer version, and let me maybe help with that. Let me grab TradeIdeas.com. and I'll show you guys where to go. So in the products page, it's probably the easiest way. 4.2.50 is our current standard production version right here. However, if you keep going down, you've got the ability to go to this one. and you can read the notes on what is different down here. So, give this one a try. It's stable. It wouldn't be on the website if it wasn't stable. Okay, where to next? Carmelo, John, answered your question, Chris. Thank you. Could you show us how to set up a personal watch list and call it back up later? Yeah, again, Lance, if you missed it, watch list, tools, symbol list, okay? Create new list, and then you could start typing in, I'll just do it for you here. New list, and then you find that new list. Where did it go? There it is, it's empty, and you just start typing in symbols. All the symbols that you want to see, on and on and on. And then once you've got that symbol list named, there's 4 symbols in there now. I'm going to go back to this one as my example. You'll notice I have one called ETF with 30 ETFs in there, which is on that PDF holdout. So to point any alert towards the symbol list that you want to be pointed towards happens in the configuration window, which just right-click in the meat of the window there, configure, and then find your way to the symbol list tab. What you're going to want to do, you're probably not going to see it over here, so you're going to have to start by going to the library and finding my symbol list, my watch list, my liked, whatever. But it'll be there. Whatever one you made, it'll be there. And you can see I grabbed ETF, and then I checkboxed, and only ETF, the symbols from this list, are going to do it. So step 1 is to create your list and have it in your library. Step 2 is you can point any one of these alerts towards any one of those symbol lists by using the symbol list tab and the existing library that we have or that you've created. So hopefully that answers that. Got it. All right. Can we add? Okay, we did the VWAP. Okay. Let's see. This person left. That person got the deal. Okay. Okay, Carmelo, yeah, did you get that for the most part? On the colorization, this is the danger zone down here if you're going long in the orange. Below the orange is the suggested stop loss. Get out before it breaks that orange. On the upside is the blue sky upside target. That's what those colors basically mean, and it doesn't matter what particular chart I decide to type in or what particular index I decide to type in. Calculations are immediately going back into the history of the chart and looking at for support and resistance and giving it to us on both the intraday and the daily chart. All right. Yeah, Kevin, if you're on IB and you want more information, info@trade-ideas.com. I did not see the indicator tab. This is one you mentioned earlier. I did not see the indicators tab in the content box. So I think we mentioned right down here, indicators, modify indicators. Maybe you need to go to that beta version that I just showed you, Chris, and pretty sure if you download that beta version, you're going to have the updated charts and the indicator options available to you.
Can you elaborate on the visual of it?
20-day, position and 20-day, perfect. Let's just see here. All right, so let's use this as an example, just because I'm not. Let's look at this orange line and below. Forget everything above this orange line, and we'll count back 20 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right, so I'm going to mark it up for you. 20 days. The low of 20 days is this low right here, and the high of the 20 days would be this high right here, basically. So whenever we have position and range, and let me show you guys visually how powerful this tool can be. I'm just going to go to search, position, range, keywords. There it is. We have position and range anywhere from 5 minutes to lifetime range. A lot of times I'll use position in year range, but here's the question, position in 20. All right, so if I were to add that filter and say minimum 95 percentile, what does that actually mean on the chart? So let me show you. Here's our position in range. So if the low, going back here, was the 20th day, it was the low, and the most recent day, yesterday, was the high, well, this value equals 0, and the high of the 20-day range equals 100. And if we put it just like we did just a moment ago, a minimum of the 95th percentile, Well, I'm going to draw another line. That means that that line that I just drew is probably around the 90th or 95th percentile. Therefore, that filter is looking back 20 days and making sure that the current price is in the upper end of that range. We can do the same thing for a 5-day range, a 10-day range, or even a 1-year range. So
And
go
and
ahead.
Steve also, because I think he was asking, and I may be wrong, but
Visual.
who was it? Oh, it's Marcia. Yeah, look at your column there, and see the little indicator for position in 20-day range. How you can read that on a chart, you know.
Okay.
But no, you know what? That helped. That what you did, it really helps because now you can actually see a visual of which ones are, you know, where. And he's going to expand
Right.
it for
So
you.
let's see. I'm going to guess that MOO is basically right smack in the middle of its 20-day range. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually,
No,
not. That would
that'd
be
be close.
yes.
Mhm.
That one is. Let's sort by that. Okay. All right. This guy IYR. We have a faint little line right there in the 50% area. Let's see what it looks like on the daily chart. IYR. Well, if we count back 20 days, you know, there's the low of 20 days, and I'm going to guess the high of 20 days is probably right about here. So what you see is the current price is kind of in the middle of that 20-day range using this graphical indicator. TLT, well, I can already tell in a 20-day range, it's going to be in the lower 30% range maybe. Let's see, TLT. Last 20 days, 20. So basically, you know, the high end of that range is up there, and the low end of a 20-day range is down here, and here's our price. So it's kind of graphically showing that it's in the lower third down here, lower third red. Full-blown 20-day highs, well, IBB, there you go. KWeb, there you go. QQQ. These are all pushing new 20-day highs. Therefore, the green cylinder is completely filled in to the right. All right. Hopefully that helped. How to find indicators again. Indicators on the chart are a right click and they're at the bottom. But you're going to want to be on the most current beta. 4.2.5 is probably not going to be enough. You're going to want to go back to the website and download the beta. If that's how you're looking for indicators on the chart. Everything else starts at the toolbar, new, alert, or top list. Let's take a quick second on that. What's the difference between a top list and an alert window? Well, an alert window is going to give me an alert that has an algorithm. In this case, the event was a gap up that didn't fill and went to new highs. Well, that was the event. And once that event triggered, and believe me, I have filters in here as well, we get a real-time timestamp and price stamp. So the A windows are always coming out when something's ready to happen. It's going to come out in real time. T windows are more like a slower-paced, active spreadsheet, if you will. As you can see, we can go in and double-click and sort and try and see things from descending or descending orders. So everything starts, whether it's an A window or a T window, at the new, alert, or new top list window. Okay, where should I go next, Andy?
Well, John says he's on 2.5, and you should be getting indicators.
I don't know if they're getting indicators on 4.2.5.
I'm sorry?
On 4.2.5, that's the standard production version. That's not the beta version.
Oh, okay. Well, I dropped the beta version in there, John. Yeah, that's the one you want to. That's the one you want to do. I dropped it into an answer to one of your questions there.
I think that's the issue that you're having. Okay. Lance, how do you get? We got just about 8 more minutes, guys. So we'll do our best. If you didn't get your question answered today, show up again tomorrow, and we got all week. How do you get the shaded area to be in the charts? We talked about that. You just simply type in a symbol and it will come. John's on that. When I right click, everything just got shuffled for me. Where am I?
Yes, Harley. You know what? We're working on that. We know that's an issue on the newer versions. For some reason, the gradient went back to that kind of pale look again. I'm not sure why, but I know that the techs are working on that. So there's nothing you can do. You can't adjust it or anything, but we're working on it.
Yeah, I'm seeing a few people asking about that. You need to get to the beta version, and then on the heels of what Andy just said, I imagine one of the configurable items will be how dark or light do you want this gradient to be going forward? I'm sure we'll have some custom ability over that going in the future, Harley. How did I add that square? Carmelo, I'm not sure what square that was I added.
Not either.
Sorry. Yeah, 4.2.2 is for 64-bit machines. We do also have a 32-bit. If you're having issues, we can get some tech support. If that's an issue, you can write us for that. At the end of the test drive, the end of the week, do we have to renew or re-register? Great question. Or are you automatically? No, Harold, we would never automatically tie you into something. This is a test drive for you guys to kick the tires, and it's a separate sequence. It's not really part of the main subscription, so you will not be charged anything after the test drive. If you want to continue, you'll have to physically, manually come back and sign back up. So there's going to be no surprise 1-month charges on your credit cards. I can promise you that. Okay, Lance. So the chart color indicators are only on the latest beta. That's pretty much what okay, and if you're using the web-based version, it may even be another issue. The web-based version charts are not quite the same charts yet. We're going to be swapping those out and making them the same charts hopefully soon. So it's a good question. If you're using the web-based version, you're missing the chart gradients. Thank you for reminding me of that and pointing that out. Okay. Brokerages for foreign accounts. I don't really have any suggestions, Dan, if you're in Argentina. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, send something to info. Send a request to info@trade-ideas.com, and I'll get back to you. Or you can send it to Andy@trade-ideas.com. I mean, there's a couple out there, but they're offshore accounts. So I just want to kind of put a disclaimer in there. But yeah, I'll have a couple ideas for you, Dan.
Somebody's asking about back testing. I can show you just the quickness, a real quick overview on that. You can only back test in a window, because if you right click, the back test strategy will not be available to you, only in the A window. Once you do the back test strategy, the module comes up. These are my local times. I can decide at what time I want to start my scan and what time I want to stop my scan. Time to exit. Do I want to hold it for just today, 90 minutes, or do I want to hold this for today plus 3 days? So the hold time. Risk management. I like to keep things in percent, not dollars, and so you can use percent and say, hey, just let me use a 1% stop loss and maybe a 5% profit target for risk management. And then the question you're asking is, how far back can we go for testing? If it's set for 30 days, it's going to look like this on the slider in the advanced column. But you can go back to 64 business trading days, which is actually about 3 months on the calendar, and get as far back as that. Sometimes it's 63, sometimes it's 62. It just depends on how much data is in our database.
So Anthony, how to zoom in and zoom out on the charts real quick?
Okay, real easy. So it's not as super intuitive, so it's a great question. If we just mouse wheel, that doesn't do us any good. We're just going back in time. So what we got to do is mouse wheel while holding the control key. That's going to get you the nice zoom that you are looking for.
All right. And if you're on a laptop, you can use your arrow keys as well. If you don't know the words, if you don't have a mouse.
Okay. All right, so one more person, because I think a few people are going to want to do this. You're going to want to, if you want to send in a strategy that you're working on and say, hey, what can I do to get more results, or what can I do to improve this? I'm trying to do X, I'm trying to do Y. Here's the procedure. No matter what the alert is, right click and save and share to cloud. So click the save and share button. You're saving it to your cloud and you're sharing the link with us. Here comes the code. So basically, just use the copy all feature. And then write your email to us and paste it in the email. All right. Let's see.
Well, it's looking pretty good.
I think we got most of them. I know, Marcia, you were still having some issues with the green line taking up the position and range. It's called position and range, and it's the visual version. So, I mean, the easiest way I can put it, I'm going to sort it again. If it's full green, These stocks are at full 20-day highs.
Yeah, I think what she's referring to there, and sometimes it stumps me as well.
This
Why
silver
would
part
you
right
just
here.
have one starting, in the middle like that? And send it,
That's a
send
good
it to
question.
info. Yeah, that is a good question, and it tricks me sometimes. Send it to info@trade-ideas.com, and we'll route that. Jamie will probably know.
I'm not sure myself. It's a good question, and I don't have an answer for you, and I would like to know the answer.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. All right. Guys, got to run. This webinar was recorded. We're going to do the same thing tomorrow at 5 Eastern, and the same thing on Thursday, 5 Eastern. On Friday, we all have a lot more time freed up, so we're able to come in and do a full 3-hour session, and that one's going to start during market hours. So keep an eye out, 11 a.m. East Coast to about 2 p.m. East Coast on Friday. We'll have a full 3 hours to really try and wrap up everybody's questions for the week. But I appreciate your comments. Thank you for the comments that are coming through right now. Again, your friend is info@trade-ideas.com, and that email will be routed to the correct department, whether it's a trader or accounting or development. For those of you who had a couple of great ideas for future service feature requests, like sending out a mass, we're having a bug alert kind of a thing. I think that's a great idea, but it is better coming from you guys than it is from us. So I'm going to shut this down. The webinar will be recorded and processed and probably uploaded in about 3 hours to our YouTube channel. And that's it. For those that didn't get the cloud links, info@trade-ideas.com. We'll attach it and send that out to you if you weren't able to find the handouts or the documents section today. So thank you, Andy, for your help.
You bet.
Thank you, everybody,
All right, guys.
for showing up. And
Yes,
we'll
thank
see
you
you
for your
tomorrow.
kind words.
Right. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.